The fascination and danger of giant waves. Giant waves are awe-inspiring phenomena that capture the imagination of many but also evoke deep fear in those who face them. They are the ultimate test of the ocean's power and beauty, as well as its relentless destructive force. Throughout history, humanity has felt a mix of fascination and fear toward the largest waves, especially those who have dared to challenge the sea in pursuit of extreme thrills or survival. Giant waves are natural formations that occur when ocean conditions align perfectly, producing waves of astonishing heights. In certain parts of the world, these waves become legendary, not only for their size but also for their ability to surprise and challenge even the most experienced sailors and surfers. From the coasts of Hawaii to the cold waters of the North Atlantic, giant waves serve as a constant reminder of human vulnerability in the face of the vastness of the sea. Often, the phenomenon of giant waves is linked to severe storms and weather systems that generate intense winds and massive water displacement. However, even under calmer conditions, some regions are known for the formation of extremely large waves, which can reach unexpected sizes due to underwater topography or specific ocean currents. This makes these locations especially dangerous yet irresistibly attractive for those who seek to push their limits. Hawaii, for instance, is one of the most renowned destinations for big wave surfers. The famous Jaws wave in Maui, known for its incredible size and power, attracts surfers from around the world eager to ride the wave of their lives. However, this wave is not only a challenge for surfers but also for sailors navigating nearby waters. Waves over 20 meters high are not uncommon, and their force can drag an entire ship if proper precautions are not taken. But giant waves are not just a luxury or adventure for a select few. In various parts of the world, these waves pose a daily challenge for sailors and vessels traversing unknown seas. Waves over 10 meters high are common in some of the busiest shipping routes, turning ships into targets of nature's fury. These waves are monumental not only in size but also in the energy they carry, and a single impact can be enough to capsize a vessel or cause irreparable damage. In addition to their impressive size, giant waves have a unique ability to inspire deep terror. This is partly due to their unpredictability. Unlike normal waves, which follow a more or less predictable pattern, giant waves can appear suddenly and without warning, with heights that leave sailors with no time to react. The rogue wave, as some call it, is a phenomenon that not only endangers the lives of those at sea but also those who challenge the waves on surfboards. For brave surfers, giant waves are a dream, a chance to ride enormous walls of water in pursuit of adrenaline and recognition. For many of these athletes, facing a wave over 20 meters high is not just a feat but a personal achievement, a challenge requiring skill and a considerable amount of courage. Images of surfers gliding down giant waves are watched by millions around the world, and their heroism is celebrated, though the high risk they face is always remembered. In the Atlantic Ocean, particularly in the Bay of Biscay, giant waves are also well known. This area is famous for its intense storms, which generate waves up to 30 meters high, especially in winter months. Hurricane-force winds in this region create extreme conditions for sailors, who must be prepared to navigate in very adverse weather. Storms in this region are unpredictable, and the waves they produce can arise suddenly, catching vessels off guard. Beyond storms, climate change is also influencing the formation of larger waves. Rising ocean temperatures and increased tropical cyclone activity are contributing to the intensification of waves in certain parts of the world. This has raised alarms among experts, who warn that the increasing frequency and strength of giant waves could make more regions vulnerable to these phenomena, with devastating consequences for coastal populations. The danger posed by these waves is not limited to surfers or professional sailors. In many cases, giant waves become a threat to coastal communities. Cities and towns near the ocean often experience storm surge events, where waves push water onto the coast with such force that it floods vast areas. The consequences of these events are devastating, from property destruction to loss of human lives. Giant waves are undoubtedly one of nature's most fascinating and terrifying phenomena. Their power and beauty are undeniable, yet they also remind us of how small and defenseless we are against the vastness of the ocean. Giant waves continue to symbolize adventure, challenge, and above all, the immense force of nature. Nightmares of Nazaré. Nazaré, a small coastal town in central Portugal, is world-renowned for a natural phenomenon that draws surfers and scientists alike: its giant waves. Over the past decade, Nazaré has gained fame as the home of some of the largest waves ever recorded, becoming a pilgrimage site for those seeking to challenge the ocean's might. But behind this spectacle of colossal waves lies not only visual beauty but also a story of wild and, at times, terrifying nature. The story of Nazar as a hotspot for giant waves begins with the discovery of a unique underwater phenomenon. The town sits near a deep underwater canyon known as the Nazar Canyon, which runs along the Atlantic coast. This canyon is responsible for the formation of massive waves, as it channels and amplifies ocean currents when conditions are favorable. The shape and depth of this canyon create waves that are not only enormous but also extraordinarily powerful and dangerous. The Nazar Canyon is a key factor in why the waves in this region are so distinctive. As waves approach the shore, the canyon pushes them upward, creating waves that can easily exceed 20 meters in height. Nazar's waves have set astonishing records, including one of the largest waves ever surfed. In 2011, Hawaiian surfer Garrett McNamara gained global fame by riding a 23.7-meter wave, setting a new world record. However, this wave is just one of many seen at Nazar, where 20-meter waves are becoming increasingly common. For surfers, Nazar is a place of promise and peril. Simply being in the water, facing these monstrous waves, is an achievement in itself. The waves at Nazar are not only immense but also highly unpredictable. They can appear out of nowhere, rising from the ocean's depths with surprising speed, testing the skill and bravery of surfers. Additionally, the shape of the waves, which often break with tremendous force at their peaks, demands that surfers synchronize perfectly with the ocean's rhythm to avoid being swept away. Yet, Nazar is not only renowned for its challenging waves but also for the courageous surfers who dare to confront them. Over the years, several surfers have accomplished extraordinary feats on Nazar's waves. Portuguese surfer Rodrigo Costa became one of the first to ride waves exceeding 20 meters at Nazar, inspiring many others to follow in his footsteps. The surfing community at Nazar is small but passionate, and every winter, the giant waves draw surfers from around the globe, from beginners to seasoned veterans, all seeking to conquer one of the planet's most legendary waves. Despite the beauty and thrill these waves bring, Nazar is also a place of danger. Waves over 20 meters high present challenges not only for surfers but also for local sailors and fishermen. Sudden storms and giant waves can arrive without warning, endangering vessels near the coast. Over the years, there have been several incidents where boats were caught off guard by the size and strength of the waves in the region, some with tragic outcomes. The power of Nazar's waves has captivated scientists worldwide, who study the Nazar Canyon and its effects on the ocean. This phenomenon has sparked growing interest in ocean science and wave dynamics, with ongoing research to understand how and why such massive waves form in this region. Some scientists suggest that climate change may be contributing to the intensification of waves at Nazar, as rising ocean temperatures could lead to even larger and more dangerous waves in the future. However, much remains to be learned about this phenomenon and its implications for coastal communities. The fascination with Nazar's giant waves extends beyond surfers and scientists. Photographers, filmmakers, and tourists from around the world are drawn to the ocean's majesty and the spectacle of these waves. Nazar has become a popular tourist destination, especially during the winter months when the largest waves are at their peak. However, this influx of visitors has posed challenges for the town, as local infrastructure is not always equipped to accommodate the large crowds seeking to witness the giant waves in person. Despite the inherent challenges and dangers of Nazar's waves, the town remains a place of awe and reverence for all who dare to face the ocean's fury. The beauty of the waves, combined with their destructive power, makes Nazar a unique location where nature reveals itself in its purest and most formidable form. The giant waves of Nazar continue to symbolize the incredible force of nature and human resilience, a reminder that the sea, as beautiful as it may be, must always be respected. The 2011 Japan Tsunami. On March 11, 2011, Japan experienced one of the most devastating natural disasters in its history. A magnitude 9.0 earthquake struck the northeastern region of the country, triggering a tsunami that swept away everything in its path. This natural phenomenon not only revealed the unstoppable force of nature, but also highlighted the vulnerabilities of coastal communities and the human capacity to endure and survive extreme situations. The earthquake, known as the Great East Japan Earthquake, had its epicenter in the Pacific Ocean, about 130 kilometers off the coast of Honshu, Japan's main island. It was one of the strongest earthquakes ever recorded in Japan's history, releasing energy equivalent to 32,000 atomic bombs like the one dropped on Hiroshima. The magnitude of the earthquake and its proximity to the coast generated a series of tsunamis that struck Japan's shores within minutes, with waves reaching up to 40 meters in height in some areas. The tsunami was undoubtedly the most devastating part of the disaster. As the giant waves surged along the coast, coastal cities and towns were swept away by the force of the water. Images of buildings, roads, and vehicles being dragged into the sea left an indelible mark on the collective memory. The waves, traveling at speeds of up to 800 kilometers per hour in open ocean, reached the coast in minutes, leaving little time for many people to escape or prepare. One of the most shocking aspects of the tsunami was the speed at which the waves reached the shore. Despite warnings issued by authorities, many people could not escape in time. The waves arrived without much notice, and within seconds, the lives of thousands were changed forever. Images of people being swept away by the water and entire buildings disappearing under the sea's force testify to the ferocity with which nature can act in its most destructive form. Along Japan's northeastern coast, the tsunami waves obliterated entire cities, leaving a trail of desolation. In cities like Sendai, Minami-Soma, and Rikuzen Takata, the tsunami destroyed homes, factories, schools, and hospitals. Vast areas of land were inundated, leaving many people stranded in hard-to-reach areas. Transportation infrastructure was severely damaged, and thousands were left isolated, unable to communicate with the rest of the country. One of the most heavily impacted regions was Fukushima, home to the now infamous Fukushima Daiichi nuclear power plant. The tsunami destroyed the plant's reactor cooling systems, triggering a series of safety failures and subsequent radioactive material leaks. This nuclear disaster, compounding the tsunami's devastation, had long-term consequences for the population and the environment, displacing thousands and leaving a lasting mark on Japan's history. The magnitude of the destruction caused by the tsunami was overwhelming, but it also revealed the incredible resilience of the Japanese people. Despite the devastation, affected communities began to rebuild their lives with admirable determination. Rescue and recovery efforts were immediate, with thousands of volunteers, military personnel, and rescue teams working tirelessly to save those trapped and deliver aid to the hardest-hit areas. The Japanese government also took swift action to provide shelter, food, and medical care to survivors, while international organizations sent humanitarian assistance. The tsunami's impact was not only physical but also emotional. Thousands of people lost loved ones, and many more were left homeless or displaced. Stories of survival and loss intertwined into a collective narrative of resilience. Families who survived faced the harsh reality of rebuilding their lives, while the entire nation struggled to regain a sense of normalcy. Despite the magnitude of the tragedy, the Japanese people demonstrated unshakable strength, a spirit of unity, and a profound respect for life. The 2011 tsunami also offered important lessons in disaster preparedness. Japan, one of the most advanced countries in disaster prevention and technology, already had early warning systems in place. However, the scale of this disaster showed that even the best prevention systems cannot avert destruction when a natural event reaches such extreme proportions. The country, along with international organizations, continued to develop and improve strategies to mitigate the effects of future tsunamis and earthquakes, with a focus on resilience and population preparedness. The legacy of the 2011 tsunami also reflects a shift in public perception of nuclear safety. The disaster in Fukushima sparked a global debate on nuclear energy and its risks, prompting many countries to reconsider their reliance on this energy source. Japan, in particular, adopted new energy policies and began prioritizing renewable energy sources in an effort to reduce the risks associated with nuclear power and protect future generations. The 2011 Japan tsunami remains a tragedy that will mark human history. However, it is also a story of hope, resilience, and recovery. Despite the magnitude of the destruction, the Japanese people rose with courage, working together to rebuild their homes, communities, and country. The memory of those who lost their lives in this disaster lives on in the heart of Japan and in global consciousness, reminding us of the fragility of life and the unstoppable power of nature. The Bay of Biscay and killer waves. The Bay of Biscay, located between the southwest coast of France and the northern coast of Spain, is notorious for its extreme maritime conditions. This region of the Atlantic Ocean is feared by sailors who face some of the largest and most dangerous waves in Europe. The bay is a constant zone of turbulence, where waves rapidly develop, driven by strong winds and ocean currents. These waves can become so fierce that they challenge not only smaller vessels but also larger ships, including massive cargo carriers and oil tankers. The weather in the Bay of Biscay is extremely unpredictable. Storms form quickly, and winds of up to 120 kilometers per hour are not uncommon, turning a day at sea into a struggle for survival. Winds from the west and north drive waves toward the coast with such force that they can cause immense damage to any vessel in their path. Waves can reach heights of up to 20 meters, making them some of the largest and most destructive in Europe. One of the most notable incidents in this region's history occurred in 2009 when a massive cargo ship, the Coral Rose, became trapped in a Bay of Biscay storm. The ship, over 200 meters long, faced waves exceeding 15 meters in height, creating absolute chaos on board. The crew fought to maintain control of the vessel as the waves struck violently, threatening to capsize it at any moment. Fortunately, after hours of struggle and an intense rescue operation, the Coral Rose stabilized and was towed to safety. This event highlighted not only the magnitude of storms in the Bay of Biscay, but also the human capacity to endure even the most extreme conditions. The Bay of Biscay is not only a place of storms and giant waves, but also a crucial area for maritime transport, connecting the Atlantic Ocean with the Cantabrian Sea. It serves as an important shipping route for vessels traveling between northern Europe and the southern Iberian Peninsula. Despite its dangerous conditions, thousands of ships traverse this region daily, carrying goods and passengers across the continent. However, every time a storm brews in the bay, the risk of accidents increases, requiring maritime authorities to remain on constant alert. Over the years, there have been several tragic shipwrecks in the Bay of Biscay, many directly caused by the massive waves and unpredictable storms that plague the region. One of the most significant shipwrecks occurred in 1979 when the oil tanker Tainio sank off the French coast after being struck by a massive wave. This incident resulted in the deaths of several crew members and underscored the dangers of the Bay of Biscay, particularly during the winter months when storms are more frequent and waves are most destructive. The waves of the Bay of Biscay are not only large but also highly unpredictable. Sudden changes in sea conditions can generate waves of astonishing heights within minutes. Maritime meteorology experts have identified a unique phenomenon in this region, where waves can form and reach their maximum height in a very short time. This makes it extremely difficult to predict the behavior of waves in the bay accurately, posing a constant risk to the safety of ships navigating these waters. Despite technological advancements in weather and wave forecasting, the Bay of Biscay remains a dangerous place for sailors. Larger ships, such as cargo carriers and tankers, are designed to withstand massive waves, but even they are not immune to the effects of the bay's storms. Waves can capsize or severely damage a vessel, especially if they are encountered unexpectedly. For this reason, captains of ships navigating this region must be prepared for all types of conditions, from moderate waves to extreme storms, and must make quick, strategic decisions to ensure the safety of their crew and cargo. Modern technology has improved ships' ability to withstand the extreme conditions of the Bay of Biscay and has also enabled scientists and meteorologists to study storms and waves in this region more thoroughly. Satellites, radar systems, and oceanographic buoys collect real-time data on sea conditions, helping to predict wave behavior with greater accuracy. However, despite these advances, the Bay of Biscay remains a constant challenge for sailors, and the killer waves of this region are still a latent threat to any vessel venturing into its waters. In summary, the Bay of Biscay is one of the most perilous regions in the world for navigation, not only due to its giant waves but also because of its unpredictability. Storms and waves can change suddenly, endangering any ship traveling through its waters. While technology has improved ship safety, the killer waves of the bay remain a constant threat. The region continues to be a battleground for sailors who face the challenge of crossing these tumultuous waters while battling the relentless forces of nature. Cruise ships and colossal waves. Cruise ships, synonymous with luxury, comfort, and ocean vacations, face unexpected challenges when massive waves cross their path. While these enormous vessels are designed to provide passengers with a pleasant experience, extreme weather conditions can transform a serene ocean voyage into a true nightmare. Colossal waves do not discriminate between commercial and luxury ships, often proving that even the largest and best-equipped vessels are not entirely safe from nature's forces. Cruise ships are built to navigate relatively calm waters along routes known for their tranquility and scenic beauty. However, the oceans are unpredictable, and conditions can change suddenly, creating extreme situations. Storms and giant waves can batter a ship with terrifying violence. Although ship designers consider potential emergencies, towering waves can be so powerful that they challenge both the capabilities of engineers and the skills of the crew. This issue becomes even more critical when cruise ships are in open seas, far from any safe harbor. A globally recognized incident occurred in March 2019 when the MS Viking Sky, a cruise ship sailing along Norway's coast, became trapped in a fierce storm. The ship, carrying over 1,300 people, faced waves up to 15 meters high and winds reaching 120 kilometers per hour. The storm was so intense that the ship lost power and drifted helplessly, unable to maneuver as the enormous waves relentlessly struck it. The crew, along with rescue authorities, struggled to prevent the ship from sinking while passengers experienced chaos on board. Ultimately, after a rescue operation involving helicopters, the Viking Sky was towed to port, leaving an indelible memory of the vulnerability of these massive vessels against nature's might. This incident was just one of many that highlighted cruise ships' vulnerability to colossal waves. In 2008, the Pacific Sun, a cruise ship navigating the Pacific, faced a similar situation. The vessel was caught by a series of gigantic waves over 10 meters high. Despite being equipped with advanced technology to withstand adverse conditions, the waves were so intense that they caused significant damage to the ship's structure and injuries to several passengers. While the damages were not fatal, the incident underscored the ocean's dangers for large ships, even those designed to be among the most advanced in comfort and safety. The power of giant waves affects not only cruise ships in open seas but also those sailing close to shore. Proximity to land does not guarantee safety from large waves. Waves formed in deep waters, driven by strong winds or distant storms, can travel vast distances and strike the coast with devastating force. This is especially dangerous when a ship is on a coastal route where waves can appear unexpectedly. Maritime authorities are keenly aware of this risk and regularly issue alerts about hazardous sea conditions, but reaction time to sudden storms remains limited. Giant waves can affect not only the structure of cruise ships but also the well-being of passengers. Severe seasickness is a common issue when a ship is rocked violently by waves. In some cases, passengers may experience severe symptoms, compounding the stress and fear they already feel in a dangerous situation. Cruise ship crews are trained to handle such emergencies, and modern luxury ships are equipped with advanced technology that allows adjustments to minimize the impact of waves on the ship's stability. However, fear is a human factor that is difficult to control, and the sense of vulnerability during a storm is unavoidable. The impact of giant waves extends beyond cruise ships to the tourism industry as a whole. Many popular cruise routes traverse ocean regions where storms and large waves are common. This has sparked a debate about how to manage the inherent risks of these journeys. Some argue that cruise ships should be designed to withstand extreme conditions without endangering passengers, while others believe that navigation routes should be reconsidered to avoid hazardous areas. Meanwhile, the industry continues advancing the design of more resilient ships with greater maneuvering capabilities, but there will always be uncertainty about the ocean's unpredictable nature. The story of cruise ships and giant waves is a reminder that the sea, though often calm and beautiful, holds the power to be a destructive and unpredictable force. Advances in naval engineering and technology continue to improve cruise ship safety, but the sea remains a place of adventure and risk. Every time a ship confronts the ocean's colossal waves, it serves as a reminder of the ongoing struggle between humanity and nature, a challenge that is both fascinating and terrifying. Aircraft carriers versus typhoons. The sea is a realm where nature's forces never cease to astonish, even the largest and most powerful machines crafted by humans. Aircraft carriers, symbols of naval supremacy, designed to withstand storms and navigate hostile waters, also face the formidable challenge of typhoons. These massive tropical storms, born in the warm waters of the oceans, have the power to devastate everything in their path. Despite their size and maneuverability, aircraft carriers are not immune to the devastating effects of typhoons, which can test even the most robust structures. One incident that showcased the vulnerability of aircraft carriers to extreme weather occurred in the North Pacific, where the USS Kid Rock, a United States Navy aircraft carrier, found itself in the midst of a powerful typhoon. Waves reached heights of 11 meters, and winds exceeded 180 kilometers per hour. Despite being engineered to endure extreme conditions, the ship experienced severe jolts and was forced to reduce speed as the waves and winds threatened to capsize it. The crew worked tirelessly to maintain the carrier's stability while the onboard machinery and systems struggled to keep the vessel operational. This was just one of many instances demonstrating that even the most imposing ships can be overwhelmed by nature's forces. The USS Kid Rock is not an isolated case. Aircraft carriers are designed to be resilient and operate under various weather conditions, but typhoons present an unparalleled challenge. Towering waves, driven by extreme winds, can strike these steel giants with such tremendous force that even their most advanced stabilization systems can be overwhelmed. Although aircraft carriers are renowned for their ability to navigate harsh conditions, they cannot escape the threat of a typhoon barreling across the ocean with destructive speed. In such situations, carrier commanders must make quick, decisive decisions to protect both the crew and the ship, whether by altering course or slowing down to reach safer waters. The story of aircraft carriers and typhoons is one of constant adaptation and resilience. These vessels are engineered to withstand immense stress and stay afloat in extreme conditions, but typhoons, with their monstrous winds and waves, represent a unique threat that even the most advanced engineering struggles to counter. Nature's forces, in their greatest magnitude, are unpredictable and often surpass the strength of any human-made machine. Typhoons pose a threat not only to aircraft carriers but also to anyone at sea. Naval fleets worldwide, equipped with state-of-the-art warships, must also prepare to face typhoons. When these storms make landfall, they wreak havoc not just on ships but also on the coastal areas in their path. Naval technology continues to advance, with ships being constructed from stronger materials and equipped with more precise navigation systems to handle adverse conditions. However, when a typhoon strikes, nature reminds us that it wields an unstoppable force that cannot be easily tamed. Naval experts emphasize that aircraft carriers, despite their size and power, remain vulnerable to extreme weather events. The challenge becomes even greater when carriers are actively engaged in their missions, requiring swift and precise maneuvers in uncertain environments. Sudden storms and unexpected typhoons can temporarily compromise a carrier's control, endangering both the vessel and its crew. For this reason, Navy training and drills are crucial to ensuring that officers and crew members are prepared to act quickly and efficiently in any situation, minimizing risks and maintaining the safety of everyone on board. In severe typhoon conditions, aircraft carriers face not only wind and giant waves but also operational challenges that complicate onboard activities. The aircraft they carry, often the vessel's most valuable assets, must be kept in optimal condition. This requires extra effort from the crew to prevent damage during storms. Space on carriers is limited, and maneuvers during a storm can be extremely difficult as the ship's structures shift and shake with the waves, jeopardizing aircraft, weapon systems, and personnel. Though aircraft carriers are built to be resilient and robust, nature's forces remain an unyielding challenge. Each time an aircraft carrier confronts a typhoon, sailors on board face not only a battle against wind and sea but also a constant struggle to maintain control and safety. The story of these ships and their encounters with typhoons stands as a testament to the ocean's unstoppable power and the ongoing struggle between human engineering and the forces of nature. Storms in West Africa. Along the coasts of West Africa, the Atlantic Ocean shows no mercy. The waters that wash over this region, renowned for their tropical beauty and vibrant marine life, also conceal one of the most perilous environments for sailors. The winds sweeping across this area can quickly turn into devastating storms, and the often unpredictable waves have the power to overwhelm even the sturdiest vessels. Here, small commercial boats, which traverse the waters in search of goods, face constant danger. Sudden storms that bring waves up to 6 meters high or more. Along the West African coast, especially near the Cape Verde Islands and the shores of Senegal, sailors have learned to read the sea and anticipate the storms that threaten to destroy their boats. However, even the most experienced cannot always prepare for the ocean's might. Within minutes, the sea can transform from a relatively calm surface to uncontrollable chaos. These storms, many generated by low-pressure fronts or the interaction of trade winds with warm waters, can be extraordinarily violent. The Gulf of Guinea, spanning the coasts of countries like Nigeria, Ghana, and Côte d'Ivoire, is notorious for its challenging maritime conditions. Tropical storms pose a constant threat to sailors in this region. Strong winds and torrential rain are common, but the most life-threatening elements are the giant waves that can appear without warning. Often, commercial vessels, accustomed to navigating rough conditions, find themselves caught by these waves, which violently toss them around, testing the resilience of their hulls and the skill of their crews in maintaining control. The forces of the sea in West Africa are as unpredictable as they are intense. Currents and waves, which might seem relatively gentle at one moment, can transform into monsters that swallow entire ships without warning. Many sailors have recounted stories of sudden storms descending upon their vessels, forcing them to fight for their lives in a raging sea. It serves as a constant reminder that the ocean, despite its beauty and abundant resources, should never be underestimated. For the small commercial boats transporting goods between regional ports, the challenges multiply. While many of these ships are robust and built for choppy waters, they are often ill-equipped to handle the tropical storms that lash the region. The lack of technological resources on some of these vessels makes conditions even more hazardous. Without advanced radar or early warning systems, sailors rely on their experience and local knowledge to navigate treacherous waters. However, this is not always enough, and tragedies are inevitable. Cargo ships have disappeared without a trace, swallowed by the sea during unexpected storms, leaving the families of sailors in anguished uncertainty. Survivor stories from these storms are deeply moving. Some have managed to endure colossal waves, often spending hours or even days adrift at sea, fighting to stay afloat and searching for land. Others have lost their lives, leaving families and communities devastated by their absence. Yet, even amid disaster, human resilience shines. Mariners who survive become local legends, and their tales of battling the sea are passed down through generations. In addition to tropical storms, pirates also pose a constant threat in West African waters. Pirates operating in this region have been responsible for numerous attacks on merchant ships, making voyages through these waters even more dangerous. Often, sailors must be prepared to face not only the perils of storms but also the risk of being attacked by armed groups seeking to steal valuable cargo. This creates a scenario where navigators must remain vigilant not only to changing weather conditions but also to human threats lurking at sea. Despite these challenges, maritime trade in West Africa remains a vital part of the region's economy. The ports here are key hubs for the commerce of goods like cocoa, oil, and minerals. Small commercial vessels, operating mainly in coastal waters, account for a significant portion of this trade. However, the lack of infrastructure and resources to confront the dangers of the sea remains one of the region's greatest limitations. As climate change makes weather conditions increasingly unpredictable, sailors are facing more extreme situations that threaten their safety and the security of their vessels. In conclusion, storms in West Africa are not just a physical challenge but a stark reminder of nature's uncontrollable power. Sailors navigating these waters must be prepared to face conditions that can change in an instant, risking not only their lives but also the future of the communities dependent on maritime trade. As the region continues to grapple with the challenges of weather and insecurity at sea, the stories of sailors who brave these waters stand as a testament to human courage in the face of nature's relentless forces. Oil platforms and giant waves. In the depths of the ocean, where waters grow darker and waves more formidable, stand the oil platforms, colossal structures designed to drill the seabed in search of one of the planet's most valuable resources. These floating platforms, often operating hundreds of kilometers from the shore, are an essential component of global energy production. However, their location in the middle of the sea makes them vulnerable to the immense power of storms and giant waves, natural phenomena that challenge even the most robust constructions. The impact of giant waves on oil platforms is not only a test for the engineers who design and build these structures but also a stark demonstration of nature's relentless force. Since their introduction to the seas, oil platforms have faced a constant risk of extreme storms and giant waves, endangering both workers' lives and the stability of oil operations. Every year, the ocean's strongest storms batter these platforms, some of which must withstand hurricane-force winds and waves reaching heights of 20 meters or more. One striking example of this battle between human engineering and nature's power occurred during the winter of 2013 in the United Kingdom. That year, oil platforms in the North Sea were threatened by one of the most ferocious storms the region had seen in decades. With winds reaching up to 120 kilometers per hour and waves exceeding 30 meters in height, the platforms faced extreme trials. Despite being designed to endure such conditions, emergency measures were necessary to ensure safety. Mass evacuations were carried out on some platforms, and drilling operations were temporarily suspended due to the danger. The Gulf of Mexico has also witnessed similar scenarios. In 2005, during Hurricane Katrina, oil platforms in the region were struck by devastating waves and winds. The storm's magnitude was such that some platforms were displaced from their locations, while others suffered severe structural damage. Hurricane Katrina not only halted oil production for weeks but also left a trail of destruction across the region's maritime infrastructure, proving that even the most advanced engineering cannot always withstand the unleashed fury of the ocean. Over the past decades, the design of oil platforms has significantly advanced to address these challenges. Modern platforms, such as those for offshore drilling, are equipped with robust anchoring systems capable of withstanding powerful waves and hurricane-force winds. Additionally, They feature real-time monitoring technologies that allow engineers and operators to constantly assess sea conditions. However, despite these advancements, the threat of giant waves remains a persistent concern. Climate change has added a new dimension to this issue. With rising global temperatures, extreme weather events, such as more intense storms and larger waves, are becoming increasingly frequent. Oil platforms, already facing significant risks, now contend with conditions beyond what they were originally designed to endure. This presents a challenge for oil companies, which must continually invest in improved safety measures and adapt to new climatic realities. In 2015, during storms that struck the Scottish coast, some North Sea platforms once again faced giant waves that tested their limits. In some instances, waves crashed over the platforms with such tremendous force that temporary communication failures occurred, leaving operators without direct contact with the installations. During those days, the platforms resembled islands in a raging sea, as extreme weather conditions demanded swift and critical decisions to ensure safety. The ongoing threat of giant waves has also influenced the construction and operation methods of oil platforms. In regions like the North Sea, where storms are frequent and waves can be colossal, platforms must be designed not only to support the weight of equipment and machinery but also to withstand the sea's most destructive forces. The design of floating platforms, for instance, has been adapted to ensure stability even when battered by powerful waves. Furthermore, safety protocols on these platforms have become stricter than ever, with rapid evacuation procedures and protective systems for workers in case waves surpass the structure's resilience. The impact of giant waves extends beyond material damage. Oil platforms are home to hundreds of workers who spend weeks or even months at sea, far from their families. For these men and women, the constant threat of the ocean can be psychologically taxing. Stories of workers witnessing monstrous waves crashing against platforms with terrifying force are common in the industry. In some cases, severe storms have left workers stranded for days, unable to return to land until conditions improved. These experiences, while testing workers' courage, also highlight the resilience of the human spirit in the face of adversity. As oil platforms remain a cornerstone of global energy production, it is essential for the industry to continue investing in research to mitigate the risks associated with giant waves. With climate change intensifying storms, the future of oil platforms will depend on engineering's ability to adapt to the ocean's forces. The story of these platforms is, in many ways, a narrative of human resilience against nature's relentless power, a reminder that, no matter how advanced technology becomes, the untamed power of the ocean always waits to be unleashed. The North Sea and its deadly waves. Between the United Kingdom and Norway lies one of the most perilous seas on the planet, a place where waves reach terrifying heights and storms strike mercilessly. The North Sea, known for its unpredictable weather and extreme conditions, is a constant battleground for seafarers, from fishermen to sailors aboard large commercial ships. In this sea, waves can tower over 30 meters, and storms can arise unexpectedly, challenging even the largest ships and most experienced crews. The North Sea has earned its reputation as a feared location due to the brutality of its waves. In its cold and turbulent waters, storms can develop quickly, with winds exceeding 100 kilometers per hour and waves so massive they seem like nature's unleashed fury. For sailors navigating this region, every day is a test of endurance and bravery. The waves, rising like imposing walls of water, can be deadly for ships unprepared to face them. Strong winds and tempestuous waters pose a constant threat, turning the sea into a dangerous realm for those daring enough to venture into it. One of the greatest dangers of the North Sea is the combination of sudden storms and monstrous waves. The marine currents and extreme winds create unpredictable weather, where sunshine can give way to a massive storm within minutes. These storms, driven by the region's unique meteorological systems, can generate giant waves capable of wrecking ships and oil platforms, leaving a trail of destruction in their wake. The largest waves, often over 20 meters high, are so powerful that they can submerge ships within minutes, leaving crews with no time to react. In 1990, a tragic incident highlighted the dangers faced by those navigating these waters. During a particularly fierce storm, the cargo ship MV Derbyshire sank in the North Sea after being struck by giant waves. The tragedy, which claimed the lives of all crew members, was a stark reminder of how unpredictable and deadly this sea can be. Although the MV Derbyshire was designed to withstand extreme conditions, the storm's magnitude and the wave's force were too much for the vessel. This disaster, a milestone in naval history, underscored the vulnerability of ships to the North Sea's waves and the need for stricter safety measures in this hazardous region. The region is also home to numerous oil platforms operating under extreme conditions across the North Sea. These platforms are engineered to withstand severe weather, yet they remain at risk from the relentless battering of giant waves. The combination of hurricane-force winds, torrential rains, and towering waves makes the platforms vulnerable despite advancements in engineering. In 1988, the Piper Alpha platform in the North Sea experienced a catastrophic tragedy when a massive explosion claimed 167 lives. While the explosion was not directly caused by the waves, the extreme sea conditions played a role in the disaster's severity. This incident highlighted the challenges faced by platforms in the region and the continual need to improve safety measures. The North Sea has also been the stage for numerous heroic rescues, carried out by naval forces and rescue teams braving the turbulent waters to save lives. Rescue helicopters, often deployed for evacuations from oil platforms or distressed ships, must maneuver through extremely difficult conditions. Giant waves, unpredictable currents, and strong winds make rescue missions perilous. Yet, despite these challenges, rescue teams have repeatedly demonstrated that courage and skill can save lives, even in the most extreme circumstances. The risk of giant waves and violent storms in the North Sea has also driven advancements in navigation and safety technology. Today's ships and oil platforms are equipped with state-of-the-art monitoring and control systems, enabling operators to anticipate weather conditions and take preventive action before giant waves strike. Early warning systems, utilizing radar and satellite technology to detect forming storms, have significantly improved the ability of ships and platforms to face danger. However, despite these innovations, the North Sea remains a place where nature wields relentless power, and the safety of those navigating its waters is never guaranteed. In this context, the North Sea's giant waves represent not only a physical danger, but also a constant reminder of the tense relationship between humans and the ocean. While technological advancements have enabled humans to overcome many of the sea's threats, the untamed power of its waves remains an ever-present challenge. The tales of brave sailors, oil platforms in peril, and heroic rescues are but a small part of the narrative of this treacherous sea. As climate change continues to alter weather patterns and increase storm intensity, the North Sea will likely remain a place where giant waves pose a constant threat to those daring enough to confront its treacherous waters. Storm Nemo and its impact on the Atlantic. In February 2013, the Atlantic Ocean witnessed one of the most ferocious storms in recent history, Storm Nemo. This meteorological phenomenon, which gained significant notoriety, struck a vast area from the northeastern United States to the coasts of Europe, leaving behind destruction, chaos, and colossal waves that tested the resilience of ships and the response capabilities of rescue authorities. The name Nemo was assigned to this storm as part of a winter storm naming system, but what it left in its wake was far more than just a weather event. Storm Nemo emerged from a convergence of meteorological factors over the North Atlantic. Low atmospheric pressures combined with cold fronts and icy winds rapidly moving westward toward the northeastern coasts of North America. As these systems merged, the storm quickly intensified, generating winds up to 120 kilometers per hour and producing heavy snowfall across several regions, particularly in New England and Canada's coastal areas. However, what truly captured attention were the gigantic waves formed by the extreme wind and sea conditions. During Storm Nemo, waves reached heights of up to 12 meters, an imposing size that posed extreme danger to vessels in the ocean at the time. Smaller, more vulnerable boats faced the greatest risks as the colossal waves unpredictably tossed them around. Yet even large cargo ships and commercial vessels were not immune to the threat, as the storm's force overwhelmed any preparations they might have had. The brutal power of nature demonstrated that even the most advanced human constructions can falter against the magnitude of a storm like Nemo. One striking example of Nemo's effects was the case of the cargo ship MV Helgoland, navigating near New England's coast when the storm struck with full force. Despite being a large, robust vessel, the MV Helgoland could not escape the devastating impact of the waves. The ship was swept away by the currents, and its crew had to be evacuated in extremely dangerous conditions. Fortunately, there were no fatalities, but the incident underscored how vulnerable even large ships can be when faced with waves of such magnitude. Storm Nemo also left a lasting mark on coastal infrastructure, particularly in New England. The enormous waves and intense winds caused significant damage to ports and port structures, which were unable to withstand the sea's fury. Fishing boats and smaller vessels docked in harbors were thrown against rocks and shorelines, while breakwaters failed to stop the pounding waves. Coastal communities suffered heavily, with power outages, property damage, and disruptions to daily activities. Beyond the immediate effects of Storm Nemo, its long-term impacts were significant. The storm highlighted the urgent need for maritime infrastructure and coastal communities to better adapt to the threat of giant waves and extreme storms, a concern growing increasingly relevant due to climate change. As global temperatures rise and weather patterns become more unpredictable, phenomena like Nemo may become more frequent, demanding greater preparedness to face these challenges. In response to the damage caused by the storm, authorities implemented improvements in maritime safety and rescue policies. Local and federal authorities in the United States and Europe began reviewing evacuation and sea rescue protocols, particularly for vessels operating in extreme conditions. Maritime and aerial rescue teams showcased their ability to respond to emergencies, saving many sailors through rescue operations conducted amidst massive waves. However, the key lesson from Nemo was that despite advances in navigation technology and safety measures, the ocean's power remains unpredictable and, in many cases, deadly. In addition to enhancing rescue operations, the storm prompted a deeper re-evaluation of coastal infrastructure policies. Ports and maritime facilities in areas affected by Nemo had to adapt to better withstand the forces of the sea, implementing more robust and resilient designs capable of resisting the impact of large waves. This transformation in maritime infrastructure is now extending to other parts of the world, where giant waves and extreme storms are becoming increasingly pressing challenges due to climate change. Despite all the chaos and destruction it caused, Storm Nemo also revealed the resilience of affected communities. Despite the giant waves and devastating winds, people in the impacted regions showed admirable determination. Coastal towns quickly began rebuilding damaged infrastructure, and fishing communities united to overcome the losses caused by the storm. The most important lesson from Nemo was not just about the destructive power of giant waves, but also about human resilience and the ability to rebuild after the storm. Today, Storm Nemo remains a reminder that the Atlantic Ocean, with its overwhelming force and massive waves, is a place where nature demonstrates its absolute power. Storms like Nemo serve as constant tests of humanity's fragility against the elements, but also as opportunities to improve and adapt, better preparing for the challenges that lie ahead.